The Shepnaz podcast begins now.
You're listening to the Shepnaz podcast, a podcast at Shepherd Church. Everything we do here is helping people take their next step toward Jesus, and this podcast is part of that. We want to help you engage daily in your faith. We hope that this is a help to you. Today, we've got Pastor Rob and Jason Gleim. We have a three-man booth today, and we're going to be talking about just some updates. So we don't do this all the time. We typically bring kind of content-heavy stuff often, but today we're going to be talking a little bit updates about what's going on around the church. There's been some big improvements that we've been putting in over the last, seriously, since
1946.
Since I've been here, we've been doing something. So, but most recent is we've been working on the Central Complex.
Late spring, early summer, been kind of, everything has been in transition.
So we're working on the Central Complex, and Jason and his team in the tech department they're the majority of that, like all the infrastructure. So Jason's here. We're going to talk about that. So let's talk a little bit about the update of the Central Complex. If you don't know, if you've not been on the Gahanna campus, the Central Complex is in the center part of the complex here. It was very... they named it's aptly named.
Deep
so
stuff.
It's the gymnasium where our kids ministry has kids services on Sunday mornings. It also has use every day of the week, the rest of every other day of the year,
all day and all night.
So and let's talk about a little bit about that. So Jason, how's it going, man?
Going good.
Yeah,
glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking time out of your day. We know that
I got nothing else.
You got a real job outside the church.
Yeah.
And so
he plays on computers all day.
I lead teams that write computer software for my regular job, and so that's not real work.
Our listeners are falling asleep. I'm just kidding. So we've put in a ton of new stuff. So first of all, the floor is in.
Yeah,
it looks great.
But preceding that, we took the old one out.
Oh, which was?
And it was that was carpet that had been in there for 20 years. Imagine carpet that's been in the place for 20 years that's used probably 16 hours a day every day.
Yeah,
for 20 years
by little children,
kids,
up to adults.
Yeah.
So the new gym floor, it's got basketball, volleyball, and pickleball lines on it.
Yep.
For our future pickleball associate
By the way,
league.
you will be glad to know the pickleball nets will be delivered tomorrow.
Oh, there we go. Tomorrow. So when they listen to this, Joe, when will that be? How many days before?
The pickleball nets will be here the day they hear this.
Oh, there
so
we
come
go.
on over if you want to play some pickleball.
And then, so on top of that, so the floor is in, which was a monumental thing. There's all sorts of snags with it, but it's in. It's great. Then we turned our attention to the technology side of the Central Complex, which really was, it was fitted for 25 years ago.
If that.
Yeah, but even then, it was probably outdated technology that we put in. So we had a lot of work to do. So talk to us a little bit about what has gone into it. Talk about the experience, the man hours that went into it. Praise some of the team members that came.
Yeah. So it's obviously been a massive undertaking for us. It really stretched the tech team, but we've had a lot of great volunteers. I would, certainly the thanks start at Joe and Josh, kind of my two right-hand guys that really put in a lot of hours. But we had a number of other volunteers.
The left-hand guy.
Yeah.
You were the gopher.
I'll recognize Rob. He was there more than once.
Yeah.
And he actually did real work. Now,
don't let that get out though.
Yeah. Well,
when anybody thinking that's true.
Yeah. He's got a background in electrical work. His dad owned an electrical contractor. And so that was good and bad. It was good because, didn't have to always explain stuff, but then it was bad because then he would ask me questions like I didn't know stuff. So I kid. Actually, Rob's contributions were great. We had a number of other people that volunteered and gave time throughout the project. Came to help.
That's good.
Yeah. And so good turnout there. In fact, a lot of the length of time that it took to get everything done wasn't necessarily a function of how many people we had. It was just a function of the complexity of the work that we were doing. There was a lot of steps that were dependent on previous steps and stuff like that.
Getting equipment in.
Yeah. So
Some stuff still on back order.
There is still some things on back order, like the audio system is all the major components, like the speakers and the mixer are all still on back order, and we expect them within the next month. So yeah, in January here, we're going to have to take the room out of service for a couple of days to get the audio system in. But yeah, so.
Right. And it's, you know, it's more than halfway across the finish line when it comes to the technology side of it. And what I love about it is if you were to walk in, it looks simple, but if they just only knew what is inside the walls.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously,
like you said, it was there's a complexity to it that it doesn't look like that when you look, because it, you know, just a screen, you know, hanging from the rafters. That's probably how many thousands of pounds?
The whole screen
with the truss and stuff.
with the truss and everything's weighing in a bit over 1,300 pounds.
So
yeah,
I mean, that's it. It's not that big.
Yeah,
of a deal.
it's all, you know, we're basically 3/4
just
of
a Honda Civic. It's not that big of a deal.
It is a heavy dude.
Yeah.
And the interesting part, though, there's a lot of electricity stuff to it and technology stuff. So, I mean, you look at that. There's how many amps are running to that? I mean, it's just a whole another panel put in back there for it.
Yeah. So we have 42 panels are what make up the entire display. Obviously, the centerpiece of what we've done in there. And that was an interesting journey. Obviously, we had experience doing that before from the work in the sanctuary. And we actually reached out to the same manufacturer over in China and negotiated with them, and they sent it to us turnkey. We wrote one check to them, and they sent us a completely working display with spare parts and everything like that. But you know, when we got into the room, electrical power is always an issue. And that whole display is about 200 amps of power, which is around the same power capacity that your average home is.
Right.
And so now it won't draw that much normally. That maximum comes if you were to put just plain white on the entire screen and turn the brightness up to 100%. We will do neither thing.
Well, because you have to put sunscreen on if you did that.
Yeah, it's right now it's running at 50 or 60% brightness. If we turned it up to 100, it would sunburn people. So it puts off a lot of power.
Yep, it sucks a lot of power.
It draws a lot of power. We actually had to put in a sub panel, an electrical sub panel for that. So we had to tap into the power that was already in there and set a second box with the additional breakers and everything, and run all the electric and conduit. So it's all in all up to code and everything like that. And then get it to not only get it to the screen, but get it to the screen in a manner that we can still lift and lower the screen. So it's actually, you know, flexible cables that go down and connect to that, because some point in the future, we're probably going to have to bring it back down for service or whatever. Yeah. So,
Yep.
Well, and I know I've said it, and I know you told me on Sunday that that's pretty impressive. But what we might be even more excited about is the replacement of the gym lights.
Yes, the high bay lights in there. Yeah.
So when you walk into the Central Complex now, you don't hear the lights anymore.
No more buzzing.
Because they used to buzz. And you also can turn them off and turn them right back on, which for me is a big plus about a light, that it turns back on.
You don't have to let it cool down and then warm back up before it kicks on again.
Yeah. Who knew something so simple would be so impactful? But
even for like something like basketball, they're brighter lights. They put out a better light for whatever we're doing. So, man, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and that was kind of a stroke of luck there, because the high bays were not in the original project proposal. And what happened was there were 3 can lights along the back wall of the stage, and those had to be replaced because they were bad. And I sourced those lights from Menards and just with the intention of them just being bright work lights for the stage, and we hung them and we're like, wow.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah, those three
awesome.
lights were brighter than the rest of the gym.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, and we had realized some cost savings in some other areas. So we ended up having it in the budget. And those lights really were not all that expensive. And Menards was great. You know, we put them on order and got them in. And they were fortunately just pretty much drop-in replacements for the lights that were already up there. So it was actually a very easy switch over and big benefit.
If you go to the other gym after being in the Central Complex, you feel like it's
dark.
It's like sunset or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, and the immediate impact has been great too already. I mean, you guys were here, and it was close to a 14-hour day on Friday that you guys put in, maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, the team all told.
On Friday, and because the next day we hosted Jingle Jam, and it's an event that we could not have done in that room previously. The way that we did it, how we did it, would not have been able to be possible. And then this week, we're turning right around and we're going to have our first Fuse, which is the youth group's monthly event. And then Friday night, the Christian school, Shepherd Christians, having their Christmas program in there. I mean, the immediate impact of it, of you guys putting all that work in, is paying off right away. And like we said, it's not even quite done yet. We got people here measuring for carpet for the stage today. Yep. So it's but man, it has been cool. It's been cool to watch.
Shepherd Church invites you to celebrate the hope of Jesus through a family-friendly candlelight worship service featuring music and an encouraging message. Christmas is on a Monday this year, which makes our schedule a little different than past years. We will only have one evening service on Saturday, the 23rd, at 6 p.m., and two morning services on Christmas Eve Sunday at 9 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. All are welcome to celebrate Christmas with us.
There's some key items still out there. I mentioned the speakers. We also purchased a giant net to go over the front of the stage because obviously it's still a gymnasium. And we spent all this money to put all this nice technology on the stage and above it, and it's obviously vulnerable. And so I may
have tested that on Saturday.
Yeah. So we've got I'm personally very excited about the net. We got kind of a Huntington Park Nationwide Arena Memorial sports net that will be fastened at the bottom of the stage, running between the two steps, and then it'll hook onto a pulley system that will bring it up to the ceiling and will protect the entire stage from basketball, volleyballs.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I don't know
Hockey
if
pucks.
I don't know if pickleballs will.
They won't fit through the holes in the net. Nope.
All right.
It's a good net.
Yeah.
It's
I was gonna say the openings are maybe an inch and a half square.
Yeah, maybe 2 by 2, maybe.
Yeah. So
it's awesome. And then so that kind of takes us to the next point of this is these are the things that I don't even know if people realize that if your thing is like, if you love learning about technology, being a part of tech, like you have a place that you could serve in our church.
Yep.
And so could we maybe like transition just a few minutes and talk about all the places that people have the ability to come in and be a part of this and really serve with their talents, or even if they're just curious and they want to learn, like where are some places that you say like these are great places to be a part of?
Well, speaking at least for the tech team, we over the years we've developed what I feel is a pretty robust volunteer system, and so we're always looking for people that are interested in the tech team being their ministry.
Yep.
I personally feel like everybody in the church should have some sort of ministry and find where they're passionate about that. And the tech team gives an opportunity for people to kind of have a very direct contribution to what's going on at Shepherd, but not necessarily front and center.
Right.
And so generally you can be on the tech team and you only have to socialize with the rest of the tech team. So, but we're actually, our program is actually geared towards bringing people on board that have zero experience. And there's I think a misconception that you have to be a computer person or a techie person or something like that to join the tech team, and you don't. If you're comfortable operating a light switch, or even just like if you've run a PowerPoint in a meeting, you've got the background to be able to participate and help us out on the tech team. And we bring people on board. Our standard kind of process is to the first couple of, really about the first month that they're volunteering with us, we'll move them around and let them shadow people in different areas. And we've got lighting, we've got audio, we've got video. The video is camera operators and director and all kinds of stuff. And we'll just move that person around and let them kind of get a feel for each of those positions and maybe the area where they're most comfortable with. And then we'll try to slot them into those spots, and we'll pair them up with someone for a month or two to get them trained and get them feeling comfortable and up to speed with what we're doing. And then we'll turn them loose and start putting them on the schedule and making the magic happen.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yep. And it's a great ministry because everything that happens is supported by that ministry. When we're doing worship, when we're preaching, when we're doing anything else, the entire online ministry, everyone is watching those services online. If you're in Johnstown and you're hearing the message, it's because someone rented a camera here and it got recorded and then it got uploaded, then it got downloaded, then it got shown and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a very important ministry, and we're very blessed to have a great group of people who know what they're doing and give their time to do it. Yeah. So, yeah.
I tell people that about 5 years ago or so, I could do just about anything in church technology. And then it blew up.
It changed.
It changed so fast. And it's to the point where now, it does. It takes people like you. It takes a team of people who are willing to put in, the effort and the time that you guys do. Yeah. So, we're so thankful.
Yep.
So thankful.
Yeah. I was kind of the same way. I was a youth pastor, just figured everything out and knew it. Yeah. And then now it's like, which button do I push to make it go? Joe
was in the staff meeting. He was talking about the soundboard we use in Johnstown, and I was like, "Yeah, I could figure that one out." But sometimes, like a new soundboard off the shelf, it'll take me a while.
Well, and the Central Complex is a great example of that kind of march of technology and capability. We're leveraging some of the newest technology in the production space. And one of the great things is you look at like the audio, the soundboard, for example. Back in the day, if you were going to set up a soundboard at the back of the room, it meant a big old thick cable.
Yeah, a monster cable.
Running between the soundboard and the stage. Today, it's just a network cable. And so that audio board, the rack,
crazy nuts.
Yeah, the rack that it sits on, that audio board will plug in either at the back of the Central Complex or up on the stage. And whoever's doing it doesn't have to do anything. They literally just plug that network cable in, and the system self-configures. And we can actually route that audio anywhere on campus. I could take, it would be silly to do it, but we could take the audio from the Central Complex while an event is going on and pipe it into the lobby and have it come out of the lobby speakers. And so we gain lots.
That doesn't sound silly. That sounds like a great idea.
We gain lots and lots of flexibility, but there's complexity with that. And so
it's amazing.
Yeah, we did some training courses and stuff so that we were up to speed on all that technology. And we've been lucky because we have the resources to be able to leverage it. And the skills in-house in a lot of cases to do this. So it's been a blessing.
And I love that the area, the Central Complex primarily is our main children's ministry area. There's other things that go on in there, but we wanted to make sure that we're up to date with the latest technology and video stuff for our kids because that's the way that generation learns. And we want to be really on the ball with them. So every week your kids are going to be getting, delivered the message through the latest technology that's out there. And we're excited about that.
All right. Well, Jason, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had nothing else to do. So
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
and
sure
really,
you don't have
just one more quick shout out to Jason and Josh and Joe and all the other guys that helped. There's a lot of guys that showed up, and thank you for that. I mean, if we were paying full price for all this kind of stuff and having somebody to install it, we wouldn't have it. Yeah. So the reality is that because of these guys' ministry and their gifts and their volunteering, we have great technology here at the church to deliver a life-changing message of the gospel. So thank you guys.
That's good.
Yeah, and I just to piggyback onto that, I personally am very thankful that we have leadership that has the vision to make a commitment to the technology, because there are a lot of churches that don't, they don't think that they should spend money on technology. And the problem is, you kind of touched on it with the kids coming in and being blessed by the latest technology that's in there. Young people walk into a space and they judge it based on the looks and kind of the technology that's in there, because we're used to seeing high-tech productions, whether it's on TV or in person or anything like that. And if you walk into a space and it's, outdated and
flannel graph,
right? Whatever. It automatically kind of puts up a barrier to a lot of people, and then they'll immediately start thinking this place is not going to minister to me because they're outdated, they're out of touch.
Yeah.
Even though they may not be. So
right.
The fact that we have the commitment from the leadership to not only support us with their efforts, but their money is very much appreciated. I should say the church's money, but it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, well, and we have a great board that's supportive of all those things as well. So
for sure.
It's great. Very cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for episode today. We're super thankful for you for listening. We hope that this is a blessing to you. We hope that you come check out the Central Complex. I'm sure that at some point over the next month or so, you will have an event that you can be a part of in there, even if it's not just every Sunday with kids.
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
For sure.
If you have any questions, comments, if you want to get involved with the tech team, email us, podcast@shepnaz.org, and we'll get that information over to Jason, over to Joe, and Josh. It'll be great. We'd love to have you a part of that. You can find out everything about what's happening at Shepherd through our website, our app, social media pages. As always, thanks for listening. Have a great day.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.